We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. That should do it. Okay, how we doing, you folks out there in YouTube land? Thrash Pondo here, and so far I'm playing solo, but we'll see how things go when some people show up. Yes, nothing particularly scripted today. In fact, I have no script whatsoever. But when do I? And oh, look, Tracy's here, and she says hiya. And a hiya to you, Bubba. So good to see you, my dear. I had so much fun today on our earlier show on Tug's live chat. There we go. And Tug, speak of the devil, and the devil appears. I am here. Excellent. And she also had fun. And Gary says, I'm back. You certainly are, Gary. Welcome back. And he gives us a big wave. And you've actually become number two. And the battle for number one is still between Tug and Tracy. And Tug says, my wife is shocked you don't like Sam Rockwell and says you should see the movie Moon. Moon. That spells moon. I didn't say I didn't like him. I haven't seen a huge body of his work. Moon is actually one of the things I haven't seen. Like I say, he's actually been good in a few things I've seen. But Hitch's Guide to the Galaxy was not one of them. Sorry, Mrs. Tug. A lot of people having fellowship and saying hello. Gary says that is fine. Oh, he's number one now. Yeah, you're number one. Christopher's here. He says, good evening, Bob. A good evening to you too, my brother. Lance is here. He says, hey, Thrash. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Lance has now become this new crown system where you say who the number one contributor is. It's like watching a horse race. No offense. Oh yes, Connie Francis passed on. Heavy casualty. Very sad. Tug says she does agree he's not a good Zaphod. And again, you can't have a good Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy without having a good Zaphod. I think the Zaphod character, because of his charisma and his dynamic personality, and he gets so many of the yucks, he's probably the strongest character in the movie, even with only one head. But Sam Rockwell, I don't know. I guess he just wanted to play it too straight. I think part of the problem is, again, they tried to make Trillian a three-dimensional character, and she wasn't. That's the problem. I'm not saying anything wrong with the lady. She wasn't. She was a peripheral character. She was actually just not meant to be really instrumental in the plot. The only thing she really brings to the table is apparently Arthur tried to pick her up at a party once and Zaphod stole her away, and that's pretty much it. Sean Innes is here, says hello all. Sean, oh, by the way, the French saying I said the other night was mon grand-mère, mange devant, is my grandmother eats, well, le devant. My grandmother eats the couch, which Indy said was what I said. And I corrected him, but then I said what it actually would have been en français. This recap is for the benefit of those of you who tuned in late, and I'm very glad you enjoyed watching in rewatch. My Flock is here. My Flock, so good to see you. By the way, Danny and I were talking earlier. Do you guys want to do a collaboration show next Sunday? Oh, please, 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 pretty please. I would love to have another show with my friends Sarah and Danny. Sean says hello to many, many, many people. Sarah's talking in emojis, but basically says hit the like button, share, and all that sort of rot. A lot of people saying hi to Sarah. Sarah's giving a link, I believe, to her channel. Oh, to Tracy's channel. Give a link to yours as well, please. And Gary says, there's a Japanese festival going on in New York City. Ni hao ma. No, I'm sorry, that's Chinese. Japanese would be Yosh, ikose, sugoi. That's the best I can do on such short notice. And yes, Sarah, next Sunday night. Yes, yay. And she says, I'm live tonight. Sadly, I'm crashing after this. This new early morning routine of mine means I have to kind of wrap things up. That's why I do the 7 o'clock start time. So yeah, I'm going to have to bail after I crash tonight, or crash after I bail, or bail with a crash here and a bail there. Here a crash, there a bail, everywhere a crash, a bail. And Zupalex is here. He says, hello. And an hola to you too, mi hermano. And Jay says, what time, Sarah? I'm assuming after I go off. And John says, my French pronunciation is horrible. My Japanese is largely limited to martial arts training. Well, I had a friend who was an otaku. He actually spent some time in Japan. And I went through a phase where I watched a lot of Japanese cinema. And I picked up a few things here and there, very, very little. It wasn't quite as bad as the Japanese kids on SNL, although I did think America Happy Fun Time Now was a hysterical bit they did. Gary says, I kept saying, where's Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra? Well, Godzilla's right here. Where are the flying things? Where the flying things play? And Christopher says, I discovered a classic Doctor Who YouTube channel last week, Bob. Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, that sounds awesome. And thank you for the link, Sarah. And Buenos Rochester T-Pons. And a Buenos Rochester to you, too. And, oh, Michael's Drones is here, says Thresh Pondo. Good evening, Michael's Drones. Hello, so good to see you. Sarah, please give Michael's Drones a link. I believe you already did. Smashing. And Gary says, my French is bar none. And Doug says, you like Japanese cinema. I had no idea. Particularly Kurosawa, of course, but not just Kurosawa. Actually, I think I actually got my start when I was in college, and I was taking a World War II course. It was all the cinema of World War II, and they were showing the cinema of the other side. We saw a lot of Japanese anti-war cinema from the post-war era. Tree says, loved Godzilla versus Mothra. That's my favorite one. Oh, Mothra. And Len says Godzilla versus Megalon. I love that one. You know, the guy who played the leader of Zootopia lived like 2 towns over from me. And Gary says Tracy, mine is Destroy All Monsters. I like Destroy All Monsters. Yeah, that's a good one. Good one. Jet Jaguar. And skimming down, my flex says on top of it, Thrash Pondo, LOL. And Zuplik says, I don't know why Rochester, but autocorrect doesn't understand no chase. I thought this was like some in joke of yours, like you were calling me Rochester from the Jack Benny show. And my flex says, you are most welcome, RC. Hope you're doing better. Yes, definitely. Hope you're feeling well. And Gary says, Tracy, there are supposed to have a remake of Destroy All Monsters. That would be awesome sauce. And Len says, where's Dominique D at? Good question. I haven't seen in a while now that you mention it. Emily, she says, hey, y'all. So good to see you, Miss M. And by golly, I'm actually caught up because it's mostly people saying hello to each other. And tonight, by the way, again, no real topic for tonight, but I am going to do my Dukes of Hazzard trivia. So we can give it a minute because was it Teb who asked for that? I thought Teb was the one who asked for it. Oh, Melissa Foster's here. Says hi, Thrash Pondo, and to hello to you too, Melissa. So good to see you. And Michael says, to my flock, I'm doing a lot better, girl. Thank you. Appreciate the concern. You're so kind. We're all pulling for you, my man. And Tree says, that would be cool. It certainly would. And a lot of people saying hi to Melissa. Sweet Melissa. You probably hear that umpteen times, so I'll stop right there. It's amazing how many songs have names attached to them, or how many names have songs attached to them. And we're probably also, there was actually a bunch about Bob. There's like Bobby's Girl, when the Red Robin goes bob it along. I kill me. So, other than that, not much else going on here. I hope you guys are all doing well. Things are actually, but my brother-in-law has been staying with us. He actually went home. He wanted to like just get back to his own place for a couple of days, but he's still convalescing. Emily says, "I think mine only has two, at least that I know of." I'll rack my brains, but I think you might be right. And how about Miller? Wasn't there a song about a Miller or Miller's daughter? Anyway, I don't know. And oh, did someone else show up? I thought I saw somebody else pop in. If I missed anybody, I'm terribly, terribly sorry. Send some comments my way into the comment section. Thus, I can acknowledge you. And we will take it from there. So, I hope all of you had a chance to see Tug show earlier today. We had a lot of fun with it. It was all about science fiction comedies, and there were a lot of them. If you didn't get to see it firsthand, please watch it in the replay. Emily says, Britain is my maiden name. Found out it's Germanic, not British. Yeah. Yes. Well, the English language is actually based on German. You know how to say cat and mouse in German? Cat und Maus. Hmm. So there you have it. Well, it's funny when they refer to something as being English, they say it's Anglo-Saxon, right? Anglos and the Saxons were actually German tribes. So there you have it. Tug says it was a great show, but only because of the awesome guests. Oh, you are too kind. You are too kind, Tug, my man. And oh, and by the way, I saw The Brain That Wouldn't Die. By the way, you know that I made a comment. It was actually very, very good. And yes, if you watch close, there's a scene where the sort of monster Dybbuk dude, he's breaking free and he's like, "Argh," and he takes the door and he goes, "Argh," and he throws it too hard. It kind of bounces off the wall, and like instinctively, just for a millisecond, he goes to catch it. So Rick's character is like, "Argh." You know, it's actually very fun. It's subtle, but it's very, very cute. Elaine says, I'm Dutch, and Chafin is named after a bald man. Oh, mail call. Oh, Mr. Wilkinson, I got a letter from you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I got something. BJ's wants me to get a credit card. No, thank you. I have enough credit as it is. Too much credit, actually. I should live so long as to pay it back. But I'm actually going to turn this into a little unboxing. It's unboxing day. And let's see. Just need something to open the letter with. Bear with me. Here we go. You did a very professional job taping this up, I must say. And I'm being really, really cautious because I'm always afraid I'm going to destroy whatever's in it. Here we go. So I open it up, and I open it still further, and holy cow! Oh, there it is. There it is. It is a. Oh my God! This is so cool. This is so cool. It is a medallion from the Lizzie Borden estate. Oh my God! That Christopher, thank you very, very much. That was very kind of you. I'll find a very nice place to put it near my office area. And thank you so much. And oh, I actually get a little behind, so I'm gonna like just kind of scroll down here because I don't want to like miss anybody. The guest, yes. Melissa says, I got that song referenced to me. Sometimes I like to think that it's my theme song. Oh, excellent, excellent. I worked with a bartender years ago whose name was Melissa. And I don't know what the story personally with her was, but she made it very clear. Any patron who sang that song to her would be permanently, banned from the establishment, so no one did. Snarksess is here. So good to see you, Snarksess. And I'm just going to scroll up here. And Emily says, my mom always thought we had pagans on her side, but come to find out I have pagans on my dad's side. I come from, honestly, you rock. And my Flux is giving us another link. A lot of people saying hi to Snark. I'm assuming at least one of those links is for Snark. A lot of people saying hello to one another. I think I'm actually caught up. Oh my God, Snark says she's related to Lizzie. Okay, do you think she did it? The jury is out. It's possible she did it. It's possible she didn't do it. I heard a story years ago. I don't know if this is true, but apparently when she was actually later on in life, she actually went to California to try to make it in the movie biz. This would have been silent films, I believe, at the point, but confessed to a dear friend that she did do it. But that could be an urban legend. It has urban legend all over it. Melissa says, I never have applied for a credit card and don't intend to. You'll live longer. And Gary says, my credit is null and void. Mine is actually too good. I should live long enough to pay it off. Let's just see. My Flux says, Snarky and I live tonight. I will be with you in spirit, but unfortunately, I will be unconscious at the time. Melissa says, wow, that's awesome. Thumbs up. Emily says, my credit score is in the negatives. It's -1. Emily, -1. Lance says, Lizzie Borden gave her mom, Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Every school kid in New England knew that one. And Snarksess says she did not do it. Apparently, well, see, one of the things that people always leave out of the story, and remember, she was acquitted. She was acquitted in a court of law. So technically, she's been found innocent. But in miscarriages of justice happen. The father had many, many enemies, and he was a miser, and oftentimes broke business deals, and sometimes wasn't always really forward. Oh, the uncle did it? Oh, okay, I'll buy that. But there was one guy who was in town to try to get his money back from Mr. Borden, or at least get him to. He promised to invest, and he was backed out. But anyway, some people think it was this investor. Emily says, "I've always thought she was innocent. Just my opinion. A lot of people feel that way." Gary says, "I'm related to General Lee and Jefferson Davis plus Washington. Nice bloodline." Oh, Tug, that Tug. Tab is here. Says, "Happy Sunday," and a happy Sunday to you too. Bear with me. It is like a sweat lodge in New England right now. So I'm like sweating bullets. And Gary says, no, she's not innocent. She did it. Okay, so the opinion is divided. Tracy says, don't mention credit cards or bills. LOL. Melissa says, sorry to hear that. Emily. And Emily says, sorry to hear what? That you have a bad credit score, I'm guessing. Cindy D is here, says hello, everyone. I've been moving, so I'm finally here. So glad to see. I hope the move went well. Few things in this world are more stressful than having to move. Lance is kind of like OJ in her time. One could go that route. Teb says, Thrash, would you please consider doing a Threes company themed trivia in the near future? I'm going to write that down. Where's my pen? Oh, here it is. I just use it as a letter opener. Company. Yes. But tonight I'm doing Dukes of Hazzard. Were you the one who asked for Dukes? Someone asked for Dukes of Hazzard. Was it you? But anyway, tonight's is going to be Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, and she says, Gary, we're cousins. Sister Sarah's related to Adam West. That's the coolest so far tonight. Melissa says Elizabeth Montgomery played Lizzie Borden in the movie and was a cousin of Lizzie's. I remember that now that you mentioned it. Yes, I had heard that. And a lot of people loved that made-for-TV movie. Gary Carpenter says Sarah is related to Batman. So is Lizzie Borden. I don't know. And Christopher says, I think John killed Abby and Andrew. Perhaps. And Emily says, I've no idea about who I'm actually a descendant of. Maybe maybe one day I'll invest some time and money into finding out. I'm related to the guy who founded West Point. And it's funny because there's Enos there and Sylvester Thayer. Sylvester Thayer, or one of the Thayers, was a Union officer in the Civil War. The other one founded West Point. I can never keep them straight. I believe Enos Thayer founded West Point, and Sylvanus Thayer was the Union officer. And I can already hear Mama Thresh correcting me because I always get that wrong. I can just never. I have a mental block. But yeah, the guy who founded West Point is a distant relation of mine. Oh, and while we're on the subject, so is the first daughter in National Lampoon's Vacation. Let's see. Zublik says Melissa in the movie Lizzie did it. Oh, ooh. And Lynn says, Cindy, where did you move to? A lot of people saying on to Cindy. Snack says Robert E. Lee. I'm related to him too. Oh, small world. Melissa says, yes, Lizzie was found guilty. I thought she was found not guilty. How could I have made that mistake? I thought she was acquitted. I could have sworn she was acquitted. But anywho, she just moved across town, and Tracy says, sorry, guys, I don't know anything about the Dukes of Hazzard because I never watched it. So anyhow, have a great night and a great week. Miss Tracy, it's been wonderful having you with us. And Lynn says that you hope you have a good move. Dave! Oh, Dave, wait, Dave. Hello, Mama T. Pons. Zoop? Do you have two channels now? And Sean says, are you leaving Tracy? And yeah, it looks like she's calling it a night. Oh, music, movies, and more with Brian is here. Says, hey, Thresh. How are you doing, man? I've been around a while, but so glad to have you with us tonight. Somebody please give music, movies, and more with Brian a link. Melissa says, I'm the great granddaughter of the late great Mae West. Come up and see me sometime. That is awesome sauce. And Dave says hello, Eminem. And Tug says it was a hacky movie. And who axed you? Cindy says it was difficult, and I'm glad it's over, Lance. Yeah, I hate moving. There was a comedian years ago. I believe his name was George Wallace. But there was a comedian years ago who said we shouldn't have prisons. Rather, we should just make you move all the time. Every time you just finish unpacking, you have to pack back up and move somewhere else. I would never commit a crime ever. Emily says, "Oh, you might be surprised at what trivia you've picked up over the years." And Lynn says, "Melissa, come up and see me sometime." There we go. And Gary says, Melissa, I don't think Mae West had any kids. No, but she could have had siblings who did. So it'd be like a great aunt. And Christopher says, Abby and Andrew were Mr. and Mrs. Borden. Thank you. I was racking my brains. I thought that's what it was, but I was just never assume. And Sean says, Melissa, wow, that's interesting. Did you ever meet her? And Cindy says, I remember not being bothered by the Confederate flag on a car. It was a different time then. And Zublik says, I switch cell phones. Because of the damn autocorrect. Okay. I thought you were trying to flank me. And Gary says, Cindy, I have a Confederate flag in my living room. And Christopher says, Lizzie was acquitted. I did the tour 15 times. Oh, wowzers. That's amazing. And Brent says, how is everyone tonight? Doing well here. Most people seem to be doing as well. Emily says to Cindy, I still not bothered by it. It was never meant to be seen as anything other than an old Southern family ting. And Tug says that's cruel and unusual punishment. I know, having to move, yes. And Lance says, in okay, Brian, thank you. And the entertainment headquarters is here. I hope you had a wonderful trip to San Diego, wasn't it? Yeah, San Diego. I saw some of uh blah. I saw some of our friends Walter's posts. I can't think of his handle though, but Walter. And he says, hello, Thrash. Please give Kevin a link here at the entertainment headquarters. And Cindy says, oh no, I'm afraid of you, Gary Carpenter. And Melissa says, I personally didn't hear from her. She kept in correspondence with the family that adopted her son. Ah, I see. And Zubik says, welcome, wallowing in despair. Oh man, I'm sorry you're wallowing in despair. And Kevin says hello to everyone. And Brian is hanging in there. That's good. And Gary says, if you are a son/daughter of the South, you can have one. And Emily says, Zuper, that reminds me, we should have a hee haw trivia night. And Zuperplex says, didn't the General Lee have a Confederate flag? Yes. And Gary says the second wife was her stepmom. Oh. And Teb says Christina Ricci gave a memorial performance as Lizzie Borden in a Lifetime biopic years ago. I don't recall that. That sounds interesting. And Zuplik says Emily saw Hee Haw. It's the first season and was befuddled why it had lasted so long. And Cindy says it stands for the. You know what? Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't want to offend anyone here. Not crazy about the Confederate flag myself. Actually, I don't want to start. Do you guys remember? This is years ago. I was on. It was one of the first time I was on Dave's show, and we were doing trivia, and the correct answer to the question was the Civil War. And just for laughs, because I'm something of a fop, a funny person, a sort of a character. Instead of saying the Civil War, I said the War of Northern Aggression. And you would be amazed at the shenanigans that caused. And Kevin says it was amazing. Thank you, Thrash. Oh, excellent. And love people saying hello to the entertainment headquarters. And Rachel is here. Oh, hi, Rachel. Sorry, I'm like, no problem. We're just about to do trivia. It's going to be on the Dukes of Hazzard. And I'm just skipping down. And Tug says Thrash almost said he didn't want to start a civil war over the Confederate flag. If you connect the dots. But it just shows how some things from so long ago can still actually cause emotions. Cindy says, where are you tonight? Why do you have we have all alone? I searched our world over and thought I found true love. You found another and you was gone. Hee haw, they sang that forever. I do remember that. I used to watch that show with my uncles a lot. My grandmother wouldn't have it on in the house. but my uncles and I used to watch it. And Lance is asking Tug how he's been, and Gary says a friend of mine got me to watch Gone with the Wind, and I've been hooked on the Civil War. Oh, I studied the Civil War extensively, actually. Don't know if I'm on top of the facts as much as I used to be, but yeah, I studied the Civil War quite a bit. Oh, I wrote a paper on the Peninsula Campaign ages ago. And Tug says, I don't personally get offended by it, but I totally understand people who do. I always find it weird when people vehemently defend it. Emily says, Gone with the Wind was one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. The cinematography alone was worth the price of admission. Man. That scene where it's the train station and they've been unloading all the casualties, and first you see them in close up. But then the camera pans back and back and back and back to show the scope of the casualties, and it pulls all the way back to the top of the government building, and you just see the tattered flag waving, and you know that they're being just great cinema filmmaking. But to own their each. And Tug says, "Oh, I'm okay. Lance been helping, been keeping very busy. Thanks for asking." Rachel says, "In my opinion, Gone with the Wind is overrated. A lot of people don't like it. I get admit, a lot of people don't like it, but I think the cinematography is phenomenal, particularly at a time when that wasn't as much of a thing." But so he says, "We loved Hee Haw. We watched every Saturday with Gary Carpenter." And Brian says, "Everyone hit the like button," what he said. And Gary also watched it every Saturday. That's what it was on Saturdays. I can remember if it was Saturdays or Sundays. Saturdays. And Gary says, "T, I'm not offended." Good. And Tug says, "That's awesome." Lance and Melissa says, "I love Hee Haw Jr. Samples was hilarious when he was reading the cue cards and still flubbed his lines just like that." Um, One of the funniest things, the guy who was always crying. I remember that there's a great scene where someone comes up to him and asks him if he's raising Cain, and he says, "No, I'm not able." And for some reason, that struck me when I was like 12 or 13. That was the funniest thing I'd ever heard. And that was, God, it's like over 40 years ago. And Cindy says the Outsiders movie makes references to Gone with the Wind from the font to the themes. And Rachel says Hee Haw's great show. Lance says, "Tug, any DVDs you don't want, let me know." And Emily says, "Everybody wants Hee Haw trivia next week." You know what? Fine, Hee Haw trivia next week. Oh, actually, I already promised. I already promised Three's Company Hee Haw to follow. Is that a fair deal? Is that fair? Is that fair? And Gary says, "Most of the scenes were map paintings." And Christopher says, "I used to study the Civil War. My dad's family fought for the Confederacy." Excellent. And Cindy says, "I would snuck at Hee Haw trivia, though. I would suck at Hee Haw trivia, though. I'll try to keep it simple." And Gary says, "Cindy, you then I suggest you get on the ball." Watch on YouTube. And Emily says, "Okay, the week after that, then good, good. Nice compromise." And Zublik says, "I'm flabbergasted. There are so many Hee Haw fans. That'd be nice." And Cindy says, "I will have to, Gary." You know, speaking of trivia, how about we do the trivia now? Yeah, Mom. Yeah, do the trivia. You sure you want to do the trivia now? Yeah, yeah, do the trivia. And oh, here it is. Here it is. I thought I lost it. It was under the envelope of Christopher's present. And again, tonight's topic is going to be Dukes of Hazzard. And as always, I'm going to read them in no particular order. Number 10. This cast member got his start in sci-fi cult cinema. Was it A, Denver Pyle, B, James Best, C, Sonny Shire, or D, Waylon Jennings? I shall repeat. This cast member got his start in cult sci-fi. That's all, folks. Sci-fi cult cinema. There we go. Was it A, Denver Pyle, B, James Best, C, Sonny Shire, or D, Waylon Jennings? Was it time for trivia? Yay! It is like just a good old boy. Gary says Wonder Woman trivia. I would have to do the 1940s. I didn't like the modern day ones. I would have to do the ones that were set in World War II. But I could do Wonder Woman trivia. And I'm going to give a couple more minutes. Although it seemed like most of you already answered. I'm going to give just another, I said minutes. Moments. Yeah. Those moments are gone now. Like beers down the drain. I got a battle for the correct answer here. Um, in fairness, many of you people may have not seen the particular film I'm referring to, although he actually did a couple, but there's one in particular. T-Bonds is a World War II fetish. I wouldn't go that far. Which is where beer belongs? Let's not say things we can't take back. Anyway, the correct answer is James Best, particularly Attack of the Killer Shrews. Not only did he star in that, I believe he wrote it, but and directed it and produced it. But yeah, James Best got his start doing what one would consider drive-in sci-fi cinema. Number 9. The true star of the series, the Basset Hound, was named what? Was it A, Lightning, B, Roger, C, Flash, or D, Gordon? I shall repeat. The true star of the series, the Basset Hound, was named what? A, Lightning, B, Roger, C, Flash, or D, Gordon? Hi, Mrs. Thrash. Thrash! Ah. Seems like most of you got this one. Oh, Mike, that was very kind of you, Mike. Actually, Roger was the name of the Basset Hound I had at the time. Tragically, he was hit by a car the day before I started 6th grade. Longest first day of school in history. I know, but I had to endeavor to persevere. But yeah. So that question is a memorial to him. The correct answer is in fact C, Flash. I almost went with Fred. I don't know if you guys remember there was an old comic strip, Fred Bassett, but Flash was the name of the dog. Number 8. The Duke Boys sold this marginally illegal commodity. Was it A, unstamped cigarettes, B, moonshine, C, meth, or D, pirated videotapes? I shall repeat. The Duke Boys sold this marginally illegal commodity. Was it A, unstamped cigarettes, B, moonshine, C, meth, or D, pirated videotapes? So I have Kenny Loggins in my head now, which is a hit. Oh, look who's here! Big Guys 45 is here. It says, I hope everyone is doing well. It's been a while for sure, my good friends. It's been too long. So glad you are here, Big Guys 45. And today he says Charlie's Angels trivia. Which James Bond was in Charlie's Angels? Tanya Roberts. Tanya Roberts was in A View to a Kill. I knew I'd get that one. Oh, and Mrs. Thrush is here, waving a wonderful gesture. Apparently, I'm number 1. Or, no, I'm number 2 now. I'm number 2. Which, we all know what that means. But anyway, just before history rolls over it, Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton was not Charlie's Angels. Oh, she's wearing her hat. It says, put it on my husband's tab. What else is new? Anyway, the correct answer was, in fact, moonshine, which is the Kenny Loggins. Live long enough, you're bound to find. Moonshine will make a man go blind. Duh. I've actually had moonshine a few times, from what I remember. Number 7. The Duke Boys' preferred weapon of choice was what? A, a sawed-off shotgun. B, a crossbow. C, a compound bow. Or D, a bow staff. And before I repeat that, I should point out, I should have done it when she was still in the room, but she's already gone. Mrs. Thrash's grandmother during Prohibition ran White Lightning. Apparently, her husband made it. And for a while, they were less inclined to pull ladies over to see if they had booze in the car because a decent woman wouldn't do that. So they had all these young women driving moonshine around because their cars weren't being searched until finally the cops caught on. But for a while, yeah, she ran moonshine. In fact, I believe she actually had a sawed-off shotgun in her car. Wicked, wicked cool woman. One of the coolest women I've ever met. My mother-in-law, but my grandmother-in-law. Anyway, I shall repeat. The Duke boys' preferred weapon of choice was what? Was it A, a sawed-off shotgun, B, a crossbow, C, a compound bow, or D, a bow staff? Emily says, I probably met him several times without realizing it, Gary. Sorry, apparently I missed something. Cindy said, yes, he was. He played Jill's jewelry thief boyfriend. Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed something in the thread, but I was too busy doing the trivia. But the correct answer is C, a compound bow, which they sometimes strapped sticks of dynamite to. Crazy. Number 6. The Duke boys' car was named what? And I think we've already given this away, so call this a freebie or at least get it right. But A, the General Lee, B, the General Grant, C, White Lightning, or D, Grease Lightning. I shall repeat. Oh, Indy's here, just in time for part of the trivia, and he's already out the gate with this one. Number 6, and then of course we'll get scores. The Duke boys' car was named what? Was it A, the General Lee, B, the General Grant, C, White Lightning, or D, Grease Lightning? And again, I think we actually talked about it earlier in the show, or we should have. Be funny if it was a Lincoln. See what I did there? Because Lincoln was president. I have to impress you people. Good thing too. Okay, and yes, the correct answer was, of course, General Lee. And Gary says, General Lee, I got to see at the Charlotte Motor Speedway back in 2012. I got to see Daisy. Ooh, excellent. So far, Zuplex is 5 out of 5. Oh, yes, A, General Lee. Entity says, or a Ford Lincoln Mercury. There's no wrong answer. Emily is 3 of 5. Tracy's still here. Is 0 of 6. You might still get the 6th one. Melissa is 3 of 5. Thank you for sticking around and playing in spirit. Yes, Brian, the correct answer is A. Melissa is 3 of 5. Yes, 3 of 5. I don't even. Rachel at 208 is 4 out of 5. And Garrett Cameron says Cindy, there was at least 300 of them. Really? No kidding. Someone says it was a Dodge Charger, a real shame they destroyed so many Chargers. Yes. Cindy is 4 of 5. And Emily says the Killer Shrews was not the first role James had. No, but what I'm saying is it was an iconic cult sci-fi breakthrough part for him. Again, I believe he co-wrote it and also directed it. He was really, really enfranchised in it. He also starred in it. And he did other cult cinema as well. I just chose to spotlight Attack of the Killer Shrews because I saw that with my uncles when I was like 7. And for some reason, it scared the Bee Gees out of me. The scene where the fat guy climbs up a tree and the tree gets hit by lightning and it falls down and the shrews eat him. And before they get him, he's like, help me. Help me. For some reason, that like scarred me as a child. But no, it was not his first role, Emily, I must confess. Okay, Brian is 3 of 5. Gary is 5 of 5. Cindy was correcting you that Tim Dalton was, in fact, on an episode of Charlie's. Oh, he was in Charlie's Angels. Now I see. And we probably shouldn't have done too much because we're going to do Charlie's Angels trivia at some point. But I'm picking up with your laying down. I'm smelling what the rock is cooking. I gotcha. And Tab is 5 for 5. And Tracy's laughs maniacally. And Christopher says, "Good night, everybody." Christopher, good night, man. Thank you again for the present. Thank you very much. I will put it again in my little office, but I want to thank you very, very much. It was very, very kind of you. Thank you. And a lot of people having fellowship and chatting. And Indy, Chris is saying good night and to everyone. And Indy says, "I'm a man of the people, Cindy. There's no two ways around it." And Gary says those shrews were really, yeah. They took mostly German shepherds and put like a fake fur and big fangs on them. They were actually pretty pathetic. The special effects was not great, but for some reason it scared me. Anyway, we will now complete the second half. This country music I can down to hey, help me, Smithers. I'm turning into Bobby Dylan and gather around people. All right, I'll come in again. This country music icon made a guest appearance on the show. Was it A, Dolly Parton, B, Tammy Wynette, C, Crystal Gale, or D, Loretta Lynn? I shall repeat. This country music icon made a guest appearance on the show. Was it A, Dolly Parton? Waylon Jennings isn't one of the choices. A, Dolly Parton, B, Tammy Wynette, C, Crystal Gale, or D, Loretta Lynn? Oh, wrong question. Oh, so it's my fault you didn't provide the right answer. Love you, Em. Waylon Jennings actually had a really amazing life, by the way. But we already knew that. The correct answer is, in fact, D, Loretta Lynn. Yeah, she gets kidnapped by a group of wannabe country musicians who think they can parlay her kidnapping with the studio to get a recording contract. It's a really stupid idea. Somehow it's a happy ending. It's a silly episode, but they got Loretta Lynn. Okay, number 4. This city was the nearest urban center to the rural setting. Was it A, Atlanta, B, Boston, C, Raleigh, Durham, or D, Dallas? I shall repeat because that didn't really roll off the tongue. This city was the nearest urban area to their rural setting. Was it A, Atlanta, B, Boston, C, Raleigh, Durham, or D, Dallas? They're always, well, not always, they frequently refer to having to go to, when they go to the big city, they go to this place. John Doe's here and he says mushrooms. No, Attack of the Killer Mushrooms or Attack of the Mushroom People or Matango is a different movie, and that was Japanese, and that's loosely based on. Oh, give me a second. Oh, who wrote that? Was it the guy who wrote Heart of Darkness? I think the guy who wrote Heart of Darkness wrote it. Conrad. I think Conrad wrote it, and it's about a guy who gets shipwrecked and. Anyway, I digress. But nice try. Cindy says Waylon Jennings was supposed to be. Yes, wow, we jumped. Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on the day the music died flight with the Big Bopper. And Indy says message retracted. The message retracted to you as well, by the way. In any event, Atlanta was the city they are in reference to. Near to. Bye. Emily says Killer Mushroom sounds like my garage band name. I like Matango. It takes two to Matango. Two to Matango. How do I do this? The Duke Boys. Oh, I'm sorry. The Duke Boys' primary rival was whom? Was it A, Smokey Bear, B, Boss Hog, C, Porky Wallace, or D, Porky Pig? I shall repeat. The Duke Boys' primary rival was whom? Was it A. Smokey Bear, B. Boss Hogg, C. Porky Wallace, or D. Porky Pig? John Doe says, that's a very underrated movie. Once you eat a mushroom, you become a mushroom. Well, yeah, like I said, it's actually based on an old Joseph Conrad story, which I can't remember the name of it. I always thought it was loosely based on the Lotus Eaters too. But the funny thing, for you true sci buffs who've seen it, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's such a horrible movie. The mushroom people grab you and make you eat mushrooms and become a mushroom like them." No, no, no. You're shipwrecked on the island. You're starving to death. If you don't eat the mushrooms, you'll die. So the mushroom people are like, you got two choices. You can either eat mushrooms and become a mushroom people like us. Oh, by the way, not only are they very substantial, they also create a euphoric sense and you become high as a kite. So if you eat the mushroom, become mushroom people like us, you'll live. Otherwise, you'll die. And we're not going to let you die. We're trying to save you. So there's a very altruistic way to interpret it. I'm probably full of crap, but then what am I not? But anyway, yes, the correct answer is B. Boss Hog. Number 2. Oh yeah. This is almost a two-part question, but I decided not to anyway. Denver Pyle. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I can't remember my own handwriting. Denver Pyle co-starred in this period piece drama television show. Was it A. The Waltons, B. Little House, C. Grizzly Adams, or D. Dirty Sally? I shall repeat. Denver Pyle co-starred in this period piece dramatic television series. Oh, Individual Minds is here. And he's saying hello to all, and hello all to you as well, by the way. Was it A. The Waltons, B. Little House on the Prairie, C. Grizzly Adams, or D. Dirty Sally? Is this the toughest question? I thought this one's easy, but then I forget how much older I am than most of you. A lot of people are going at the Waltons. But I don't want to like discourage voting. It was actually the life and times of Grizzly Adams. He plays the curmudgeony old prospector who becomes Grizzly Adams' friend, who actually wasn't actually in the actual story, if I remember correctly. They actually invented him because they decided he needed a friend. He had a friend, it was a bear. And anyway, speaking of Denver Pyle, the number 1 question. Denver Pyle played a law enforcement agent in this major period piece crime drama. Was it A, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, B, Bonnie and Clyde, C, Capone, or D, Bloody Mama? I shall repeat. Denver Pyle played a law enforcement agent in this major period piece crime drama. Was it A, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, B, Bonnie and Clyde, C, Capone, or D, Bloody Mama? Grizzly Adams was on a Charlie's Angels episode? I don't remember that. I honestly don't remember that. That's a good dig deep. Thank you. Did I ever tell the story about the Naga? You know what Naga hide is, right? Years ago, a buddy of mine, his father, I guess, worked for Uniroyal or some company or such. And when he was a kid, they made these promotional creatures. They look like something out of Where the Wild Things Play, and they were called Nagas, and they had Naga hide. And one day, my old roommate and I was when Mrs. Thrashford and I were like dating, and we pulled up the Naga because I'm a Naga and I hide like Bonnie and Clyde. And she thought it was an actual song. She thought there was like some jingle made up about Naugahyde. It was very funny. And I've given the game away. Yes, the correct answer is Bonnie and Clyde. He played in Inspector Frank Hammer, I believe the gentleman's name was, whose widow actually sued because they made in the movie they make him look like a buffoon. And they say, that's just a character in the story. And the widow says, yeah, but you used his real name. You jackasses. In reality, Frank Hammer was kind of a badass, but learn and live. And he says, it's a little depressing how well people know Charlie's Angels on here. Oh, they were in Hawaii. Thank you, Gary. And Cindy says, see, Charlie's Angels trivia is needed, Gary. Definitely, definitely. So, yeah, the correct answer is B. And how about some scores? Oh, come on. I know we did better than that. John Doe says a former wrestler named Buff Bagwell got his right leg above his knee amputated. I feel bad about it. He was a good wrestler. Oh, bummer. Bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. And Gary says Lex Luthor was on Bonnie and Clyde. Yes, yes, he was. He played Clyde Barrow's brother. So it says, were there 10 questions? Yes. And Teb says 8 out of 10. And Cindy says Charlie's Angels was popular. Yes, it was. Gary is 10 for 10. Emily says, oof. 7 out of 10. That's still good. Zublix is 7 out of 9. He missed one, but you know what? Call it 8 out of 10, you know. I think you just lost count. Rachel is 8 out of 10. Cindy is 7 for 10. Gene Hackman, yes, who we just lost recently, yes, who played Clyde. You know what else has a very small part is Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder and his girlfriend, they play a young couple who get their car stolen by the gang. And was it? Pardon me, I got the hiccups now. It's killing me. Sabrina was my favorite. Sabrina who? Sabrina, pardon me, the Teenage Witch. And Gary Cameron says, yes, John, thank you. Gene Hackman. Tracy got 2 out of 10. Well, see, that's something. That's the perseverance we're talking about. Zubik says, what was question 3? Well, I read them in no particular order. But I'm going to check out here. The Duke Boys' primary rival was whom? Was it A, Smokey Bear, B, Boss Hog, C, Porky Wallace, or D, Porky Pig? Brian got 6 out of 10. Gary Carpenter says, I love the Archies. And Melissa says 7 out of 10. I think that I lost score. No worries. That's still a decent score. Gene Hackman turned down Mike Brady. I'm not sure if I heard that. I believe I heard that. And Brent says 56 out of 10. Or I'm guessing that's 5 or 6 out of 10. We'll call it 6. Zubik says 8 out of 10. You see, I told you. And, Kevin Scott 76 is here. Yay! He says B. And yes, Boss Hog is correct. And it's so good to see you, Kevin Scott. 76 trombones led the big parade. 110 cornets close at hand. And Emily says, Gary, I did too. Did you see to Riverdale and back? I did not, but it sounds good. John Doe says the Archies got on TV because the Monkees refused to record Sugar Sugar. Yes. Yeah, I knew. I knew that. Yeah. And so the Archies did it very, very, very good. And I love the Groovy Ghoulies too. The Groovy Ghoulies were great as well. Oh, guys, I think we kind of need to wrap things up here. But remember, Snark Sass and Sister Sarah are going on live immediately following. So I request all of you to go. Tell everyone I said hi for me. Some night I might actually make it, but then I had a lot going on this weekend. So I am kind of crashing. Anyway, I'm going to try to get some new content out this week. I can't make any promises, but I'm going to try to get some new content out this week. Definitely gonna do a show next Sunday, and remember, it's gonna be Dan and Sarah and myself, and we'll do the normal 7:00 kickoff time. And so a lot of people saying good night. Yeah, good night to you folks. Good night, Teb. Good night, John. Good night, Superplex. Good night, Emily. Indy says thanks for most of the trivia, Bob. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for playing, Indy. It's great having you around. And Emily says good night to Terrell as well. And Emily says, Tubi and Pluto shows they have it. Oh, and good night, Rachel. Yes, thank you so much for joining us, by the way. It's always great having you with us. Kevin's got his 1 out of 1. Yeah, that's a perfect score. And Gary says, good night, Mrs. Calabash. Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. I know it's a very feeble, Durante impression. And Cindy says, love to be, but they show the same episodes all the time. I hate that. I hate that when they, it's like you go to see an old show and they have like 7 episodes. And John does says, check out Subway Mania Wrestling on the train. I'll try to, by the way, John. And John, by the way, thank you for sending me those posts. I don't get a chance to see all of them, I must confess. But the ones I do check out, I love all the ones I get to check out. Thank you. And then he says, bubblegum pop to Zuper. And Melissa says, good night to Thrash Pondo and to all. Good night to you, Melissa. It's so great having you with us. It's so great having you. I can't tell you how much I enjoy these. Like I say, by Sunday nights, I'm usually Mrs. Thrash and I were like, I could go to bed right now. This is like at like 6:30 after dinner. But these shows, they mean a lot to me. So I'm just gonna keep doing them. I love doing them. I love having you guys here. And individual ones here. Off topic, but have y'all been in an antique music store? I went there today and fell in love with all the records and so forth. I am trying to sell my cassettes, but kept my Pink Floyd. Do they still buy cassettes? I love cassettes. I even have a couple things that play cassettes. That is awesome. Yeah, keep the Pink Floyd. That is definite. But yeah, I must confess, I never. But there's a place on Cape Cod. There's a place called Spinnakers. I used to go there all the time. I never get into town anymore, but they still have vintage music, and I actually love it. They're the one I told you about. The guy I'd known since high school, Randy. He'd worked there for like decades. He just passed on actually, but the place is carrying on. But anyway, rest in peace, Randy. But yeah, vintage music stores are great. They definitely are, indeed. So, if I had the time and money, I would go there more often. And so it says bubblegum music is the lowest common denominator. And so he says message retracted. Message retracted to you as well. And he says, yeah, they do. And Kevin Scott says, you're the best, Thrash. No, you're the best. Or look, I'll do my feeble Slim Pickens. We're the best. And individual one says, I go there and my mouth just drops. I didn't want to leave, but I had to. No, again, I couldn't agree, I couldn't sympathize more. I'm like that with all vintage shops. I'm a nostalgia buff. I find an old glass crush bottle and I fall in love with it. As he says, the Backstreet Boys, no, just no, Backstreet Boys. All right. John Doe says there's a world famous place here called Bleecker Street Music, all classic and imports. Oh, excellent. And Gary says, I have to throw away most of mine. They're all dead. The volume is gone. Oh, I'm sorry. And he says, I just load mine on the Spotify playlist. I didn't want to record tapes or cassettes. I might collect a book or 120. Zubik says Slim Pickens loved the bum. Yes, he did. Yeah. And Indy says, I did get my mom the Elvis Blue Hawaii cassette. Oh, for $5. Excellent. And Gary says, love the Backstreet Boys. And Cindy says, I like New Edition better. They were cute. Anyway, guys, I got a motor. I want to thank you guys again all for being here tonight. It's been a blast. It's always a blast. Next week, we're going to do Three's Company. Week after that, we'll do Trivia. Promise. Anyway, until then, be good, be safe, be careful. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.